Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Have you ever taken one of those personality tests and just felt, I don't know, like it completely missed the mark? Like you were just feeding it the answers you thought you should give? Well, okay, let's dive into this because today we are totally ditching those traditional questionnaires for something way more visceral, something real. We're looking at your micro reactions. You know, those tiny, completely unconscious things you do before your brain even has a fraction of a second to think about it. Picture this. You're in the kitchen, you're cooking up a storm, and oops, your hand accidentally brushes against a boiling hot metal pot. What do? I mean, in that exact split second. Because let's be real, conscious thought is literally impossible in that moment. You aren't pausing to weigh your options, right? Your body just takes over and acts. Which brings us to section 1, the unconscious true self. See, there's this massive gap between who you consciously want to be, your ideal self, and what you actually do when panic or discomfort hits you out of nowhere. And guess what? That exact gap is where your true personality is hiding. It's not in the carefully curated words you use, it's in how you react when your guard is 100% down. Let's define what we're really analyzing here. The Japanese actually have a brilliant word for this, honsho. A lot of people mistakenly think of their true nature as some hidden dark side, like some negative trait you're keeping locked away. But actually, scratch that, that's not it at all. Honsho is simply your unfiltered, unconscious physical reaction to a stimulus. It reveals your absolute core values. These totally mundane, completely unguarded moments, they are the ultimate mirror, showing you who you really are. Let's look at a concrete example in section 2, reacting to sudden pain. So, going back to that boiling pot in the kitchen, we can look at two very different, super visceral reactions to that sudden pain. You touch the pot? Do you violently pull your hand away immediately to cool it off? Or do you silently, maybe even calmly, walk over to the sink to run it under cold water? Now, what's really interesting here is that we aren't judging either response as wrong. Not at all. They just tell us completely different things about how you're wired and how you make everyday decisions. Let's break down that first one. If your instinct is to pull away immediately, you probably just brush it off as a basic reflex, right? But psychologically speaking, this actually shows you're bold, you're decisive. You're incredibly honest with your feelings. You don't try to suppress the pain. When we translate this to your actual life, it means you have the decisiveness to quickly distance yourself from toxic situations or bad relationships without overthinking the whole shebang. You just know exactly when to get out. And honestly, in the modern workplace, that kind of rapid, unapologetic boundary setting, it is incredibly rare and deeply, deeply valuable. You don't waste time second-guessing. But what about the flip side? What if your immediate instinct is to stay calm? You feel the burn, sure, but you don't shout. You just silently walk to the sink. Well, this proves you are highly logical, incredibly composed, and incredibly organized under pressure. You're feeling the pain, but your brain is instantly structuring a solution. It's that exact same trait that lets you handle massive, totally unexpected trouble at work without panicking and running for the hills. Moving on to section 3, the psychology of itching. Okay, think about this super relatable annoyance. You're sitting there, deep in a book or working at your desk, and suddenly, bam, you feel an intense itch on your arm. I want you to be totally honest with yourself for a second. What is your absolute immediate instinct? Because again, we see two very distinct personality types here side by side. Are you scratching immediately to get rid of that feeling? Or are you enduring the itch until you reach your absolute breaking point and only then scratching it? It sounds kind of funny to think about, I know, but how you handle this simple physical urge perfectly maps out your daily decision-making habits. So if you're an immediate scratcher, society sometimes gives you a bad rap, implying you lack discipline. No way. That is totally not true. Immediate scratchers aren't weak. You are assertively honest about your discomfort. You clearly assert your personal needs, and you prioritize your own comfort over conforming to what others might expect of you. Basically, it means you're incredibly straightforward in your relationships. You are definitely not afraid to clearly say, hey, I want this, or I absolutely hate this. On the other hand, let's look at how this builds if you're an endurer. Holding off on a scratch reveals a masterful sense of timing. It shows you possess amazingly strong impulse control and are highly, highly self-disciplined. You literally know how to wait for the exact right moment for release. And this translates directly into your life, like avoiding emotional outbursts in the middle of an argument, or having the restraint to stop yourself from making some terrible impulse buy online. Next up, section 4, adapting to your environment. Think about dealing with sudden environmental discomfort. So imagine you walk into a freezing cold office building, or maybe you step outside into that brutal, stifling summer heat. How your body instinctively wants to react to that temperature shift speaks volumes about your approach to life.
Are you immediately adjusting your clothing, like ripping off a jacket or reaching for the AC remote? Or are you staying put and just kind of enduring the temperature exactly as it is? It is fascinating to consider what these macro-environmental reactions reflect about your overarching life strategies. If your immediate reaction is to take off a layer or crank up the fan, you're what we call an adjuster. You are a rational problem solver who actively changes the situation. You completely refuse to view unnecessary endurance as some sort of noble virtue. Instead of just sitting there suffering in silence, you identify the problem, you fix it, and you get right back to being productive. Boom, done. And this brilliantly illustrates the other side of the coin for the endurers. If you just sit through the cold, it proves you have incredibly deep focus. You're highly stable and you prioritize harmony, both within yourself and in your surroundings. You have this amazing ability to prioritize long-term tasks over temporary physical discomfort. You just don't let minor environmental shifts break your concentration for a second. Let's pivot to Section 5, Hidden Values in Mishaps. We are shifting gears to the absolute horror of sudden accidents. Imagine you're out having a fantastic meal and disaster strikes. You suddenly spill dark sauce right on your favorite white shirt. Or maybe you're watching sports, your team makes a terrible play, and you just suddenly lose your cool. Let's focus on that sauce stain for a minute. Do you stop everything to wipe it up immediately? Or do you basically ignore it so you can keep eating and enjoying the conversation? As we contrast the meticulous cleaner with the easygoing eater, remember again, we are observing your core values here. We are absolutely not judging the behavior.
If you immediately grab a napkin and water, you might worry that people think you're vain. But actually, wiping it immediately shows you're meticulous, organized, and deeply sincere to yourself. You care about how you present yourself to the world. And you know what? That meticulous nature almost certainly translates to a beautifully organized, highly reliable work life where you get things done right. Now, what if you just let the stains sit there and keep eating your pasta? It doesn't mean you're just messy. Ignoring the stains shows incredible mental flexibility. You are prioritizing the joy of the present moment over a minor aesthetic setback. Because you don't panic over small failures, this trait actively relaxes everyone around you. Trust me, people love being around your easygoing energy.
Finally, Section 6, Embracing Your Unfiltered Identity. So the crucial point is, when we zoom out and look at all these micro reactions together, the macro takeaway is actually deeply empathetic. It is time to stop judging yourself against some rigid, idealized persona of who you think you should be. Start appreciating the incredible strengths hidden in your instinctive reactions. Look at how a lifetime of tiny split-second reactions builds a literal blueprint of your true values. Whether you pull away from hot water fast, showing you're decisive, or endure an itch, showing self-control, maybe you adjust the AC because you're a rational problem solver, or you keep eating with a sauce stain because you're beautifully flexible and present in the moment. I really want to leave you with this profound realization directly from our source text. Having an ideal is just a guide, but gathering your daily small actions is what truly draws the outline of who you are. You have to embrace your unfiltered, raw reactions without self-denial. Stop fighting them. Those little quirks, those split-second instincts, those are exactly the things that make you incredibly capable. Your next split-second reaction is coming probably later today. The next time you face a minor inconvenience, a sudden noise, a drop of water, a cold breeze, pay close attention to what your body naturally wants to do. So, are you ready to meet the real you? Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Keep observing, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.